Ladies and gentlemen, allow me for a moment to take you on a trip into the future. And I want you to understand what I'm about to say to you is better yet, it's better for me to show you what's coming down the pipeline.
Artificial intelligence robot system that may be able to solve this problem.
These amazing machines are transforming the agricultural industry, changing the way we harvest delicate fruits and vegetables. Unlike their clunky bulldozing predecessors, six-axis robots are nimble and precise, equipped with advanced sensors and cameras that allow them to see and interact with the world around them with remarkable accuracy.
We have unelected bureaucrats deciding right now as we speak what will happen with our supply chain. Now, just real quick, before the video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. And let's just see what the supply chain involves and how it affects you.
I'm going to talk about solving real-world decision-making problems, so problems that are high value that we've been discussing in the panel that maybe you have with your organization. And let's first start to think about what is these decision-making problems, okay? So we heard several examples. It can be we're using sensors and we want to do better inspection, right? So we're actually using some machine learning to predict whether we have maintenance requirements, and then we want to schedule that maintenance. We need to send out people to do those. We have workforce planning issues. Maybe we want to have routing problems, right? But these are subject to uncertainty, such as, weather, as you were mentioning earlier. Okay, so I would like to start with inviting you to think about a high-value problem in your organization. Okay, it can be procurement, inventory management, routing, fleet management. Okay, something that has to do with decision-making problems. Now, as you think about it, most likely there is something that you don't know perfectly about this problem, right? So you need some sort of prediction. And when we're talking about transportation, logistics, and supply chain, many times we talk about demand as one of the key uncertain components, but it can be something else. It can be costs, it can be, equipment failure, and so forth. Okay? So keep that in your mind, and now I'm going to say a bit about what can the state of the art, where is research right now, and what can it do to solve those high-value problems? And in order to do so, we need to understand what we're really good at today. Okay? So right now, we're really good at a lot of things thanks to data, not necessarily, massive amount of data, but high-quality data. We also have high-performing algorithms and massive computing power. Okay, so these are success factors for machine learning that is widely known, why machine learning is so powerful. What I would like to just take a little bit of time is to explain that we're also really good at these very hard optimization problems that I was mentioning. I think Dominique earlier was saying, imagine CN. You need to manage so many assets. There are thousands of locomotives, right? You're running thousands of trains per week. So the sheer scale of these problems are hard. And I'm pretty sure that the problems that you are thinking about right now that are valuable to your organization, they're also large scale. They are hard to solve. Okay, so let's look at that pipeline. What are we good at today and how do we do it? Okay, so most of the times we'll think about, I don't know demand. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to take the best performing machine learning algorithms and I'm going to predict demand, okay? Then I'm going to feed those predictions, so a number for everything that I don't know, to an optimization algorithm that is going to produce a solution. Now, as we have heard from several people, we're not in the game to replace people necessarily. We want to augment them. We want to make their decision-making better, right? So human will look at these and maybe make some adaptations and then implement those solutions, in which case you see what actually happens.
Supply chain involves a lot, and they're discussing it in a manner in which, boy, you need to be ready for.
Standards in particular help us transcend geopolitics at times. It helps give certainty. So that's a space. Here at WEF, we're very uniquely positioned, if just look around this panel, of the ability to bring folks together. So how are we working on workforce development around the globe? How are we assuring that capabilities of small and mid-size manufacturers are able to expand their reach? So that ability to work together on these things, and most importantly, I'd say to learn from each other. If I think about the Global Lighthouse Network, Johnson & Johnson's very proud to be a part of the founding members of the advanced manufacturing, because we get to learn from each other, and that accelerates best practices, it reduces our learning curve, and that is truly an academia, government, and industry activity.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so as you can see, the supply chain includes your food, your water, goods and services, each and everything that's critical to your life. And when you add in the fact that these same green people, lizard people, are talking about the supply chain and how to bolster the supply chain from their perspective, not from your perspective, from their perspective, it gets extremely dangerous. And what I mean by this, and what I mean by that is this. You see, from their perspective, they want an on-demand supply chain. That means that before you, for example, you want a new refrigerator, there's only enough refrigerators in the warehouse to supply that need. So they don't have to hold on to inventory. Their inventory costs are low.
So I'm going to go out and I'm going to take the best performing machine learning algorithms and I'm going to predict demand, okay? Then I'm going to feed those predictions, so a number for everything that I don't know, to an optimization algorithm that is going to produce a solution.
Because they have just the right amount on hand to supply your needs. So when you look at warehouses all over the country and all over the world, only enough will be produced through the power of AI in order to meet the existing demand. Therefore, they don't have excess inventory, and therefore they make more profits. Now you may be saying, well, DW, there's nothing really dangerous about that. That is the most dangerous thing on the planet. Why is it dangerous, DW? Tell me why it's dangerous. Because if the entire supply chain is streamlined and there's a break in that chain, then the entire chain breaks. Don't believe me, don't believe me, don't believe me. Let's take a look at what happened with Crowdstrike a few days ago. They were in control of the supply chain for security for the entire world. And this is what happened.
So some of the billboards in Times Square here today went dark because of a global internet outage. It's causing chaos at airports, affecting banks, hospitals, government offices, media outlets, and other businesses all around the world. Fox Business correspondent Lydia Hugh joining me to report here on all of this from New York. Hi, Lydia.
Hey there, Martha. This is a massive global tech outage impacting what's estimated to be millions of people who are traveling today in need of medical care, or some just trying to get a cup of coffee. Take a look at this. These are the companies that are saying that they are impacted. Just some of them: Starbucks, FedEx, CVS, Bank of America among them. But Martha, it's not just corporate America. 911 call centers are disrupted in states like Alaska, Virginia, and Iowa. Shipments to ports in Los Angeles and Long Beach interrupted. And Portland, Oregon has declared a state of emergency. Hospital systems, they're saying interruptions too. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center here in New York says most of their systems and procedures are reinstated now. But just earlier today, it reported pausing the start of some procedures that required anesthesia. The cause of all this mess is cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike. The company says the problem happened when it issued a faulty update to customers running Microsoft. Even though the disruption is not a cyber attack, some are now questioning whether our country, is vulnerable. Watch.
So we see that the company that was in charge of security for the entire world claims that an update destroyed everything all at once. Markets crashed, people were stranded, hospitals having problems. This is the issue with a streamlined supply chain, where there's one person supplying everything, or where there's only a few corporations supplying everything, and they all work in conjunction. This is the danger to you and your family. And this is probably one of the most advanced forms of control that there is. If you control the food, you control the population. If you control the water, you control the population. You control the power, you control the population. And so when you hear these people right here that I'm about to play, talking about refining and controlling the supply chain, understand they're talking about dominating you. Complete and total domination of you, your family, and your life. And they're partnering with supercomputers to do such. Listen, just take a listen to them. Go ahead, listen.
Mr. Meyer, I was talking about harming the companies through regulations. As far as I know, the European Union has a new regulation that made companies accountable for the whole supply chain. So from the beginning until the end. My question would be, is this a harmful regulation? Where are the challenges for DHL or Johnson & Johnson?
Well, I think it is a good example of well-intended, and I think probably nobody here has an issue with the objective of that regulation, but it is particularly reporting requirements that are connected to it, and also what is reasonable. I think in Europe have the tendency that government wants to step in, but conveys some responsibility on companies where I would say government is responsible. The rule of law and upholding order is the responsibility of that government. And it is a bit also, I think, from a geopolitical view, problematic to have these extraterritorial regulations. You're de facto impeding on the sovereignty of regulation of other countries. And if all countries try to do that, this is an utterly complex world, and it will create more also geopolitical issues if one bloc says our rules apply to everybody else. And by the way, we didn't consult you on these. So that's the concern that I have with that tendency of extraterritorial reach. It is not the objective of this, but it's the bureaucracy. And I think we need to be mindful of the geopolitical impact of extraterritorial reach. If the US and Europe want to describe to the rest of the world how things need to be done, there will be in other parts of the world people who don't like to hear that, and I think they have a point. They have a point. The West is 10% of the world's population. It's 10%, is not 90. So that's my broader concern around these regulations.
I just add that can then lead to then other areas then wanting to now do the same thing, and it just becomes this escalation of things that pile on each other versus can we create a global standard for how we report scope 3? Can we create a global standard for traceability and everyone accept that then there can be reporting mechanisms that provide a country or a bloc with information or a company and increases visibility without creating this escalation of complexity, and then we wonder why costs go up.
And ultimately invisibility, right? Because if you have conflicting standards, whom do you adhere to? How do you stay compliant?
Well, the supply chain is so precise because of AI. I mean, so accurate, so precise that everything is delivered within an hour. But there's no excess of anything. And because everything is so interconnected and everything, the supply line or the supply chain is so strict and so tight, you do something wrong, that means you're cut off from the supply chain. Well, DW, they can't cut me off from the supply chain. Well, if they have it all under control, they damn sure can. Why else would you need to control the entire supply chain? Never mind the fact that when you start talking about stakeholders and shareholders, which is their new word, you have to be a stakeholder or a shareholder. It's talking about the consolidation of all the wealth and all the power to very few people. And the streamlining of the supply chain is how this will be done. Those of you who get on our supply chain with AI, you're going to make all the money in the world. Those of you who are off this supply chain and does not come into agreement with what we say and what we do, you won't make anything. You will be driven out of business. Remember what happened when Walmart hit all the small towns and cities, how the downtown areas went completely out of business because everybody and their mama ran to take their money to Walmart because Walmart had a better supply chain. It was more efficient, and therefore their prices were cheaper. Everybody decided they was going to close down. They went and got a job at Walmart. And now those areas of downtowns that used to be thriving in small cities are dead. And think about it. You drop one Walmart within, I don't know, let's say a 40-mile radius of 4 or 5 small towns. Everybody flocks to Walmart. Everybody else goes out of business. Oh, what goes out of business? Oh, remember the guy who used to have the store where you buy your fishing supplies? Oh, no, we don't go there no more. We go to Walmart. Remember the hunting store? Oh, we don't go there anymore. We go to Walmart. Oh, remember Miss Betty used to make the cakes? She would make birthday cakes? Oh, she's out of business. That bakery is gone. Everybody goes to Walmart. You understand what I'm saying to you? And how important this is to understand what the green people are doing to you and your family. You may be saying, well, DW, what do we do about it? Understand that these are unelected bureaucrats that are doing this. If you understand that they're unelected bureaucrats that's doing it, then you go talk to the elected people and say, hey, homie. They on their campaign stump, running around, running for mayor, running for senator. You pull up, say, bruh, let me holler at you. Well, yeah, Mr. Williams. Hey, we're not really in agreement with this whole globalist supply chain thing that they're going to be presenting to you when you get in office, and how we need to streamline the supply chain. Now, listen, I know they're going to send a lot of money towards you, homie, because that's what they do. But I need you to understand, we the people not with that, because that's going to take all our jobs out. We're not with these AI robots being in Amazon factories. That's getting rid of jobs. We're not with none of this foolishness that's going to destroy our livelihoods. And I want you to understand that if we find out you're getting on that time with them, we're going to vote you out. And we're going to be committed to voting you out. And you can spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to try and campaign. But it's going to be a grassroots campaign to vote your behind out. Do you understand me, sir? I mean, you hold on to that hand like this. I mean, you squeezing it. He trying to pull away. He's squirming. All you ain't letting him go. Look him dead now. Do you understand me, sir? Are we clear what we saying? Yeah. I understand. Thank you. Have a nice damn day. Guys, that's why we got to be out here in these streets. If not, we will all be screwed. We will all be screwed. And I'm not talking about the next 10 years. I'm talking about in the next 4 years, we're going to all be screwed. That means your children and grandchildren will not have a job. They won't, because the technology is moving too fast. And when you compare a robot working 24 hours a day, no lunch break needed, no nothing, versus a human being that you got to pay insurance to, health insurance, life insurance, 401ks, disability insurance, liability insurance, you remove all of that extra expense. And that's what it really boils down to. It's crazy because all they want to do is be more profitable. But in the process of being more profitable, they're literally destroying the world. They're destroying the world. You heard it here with the Steak Onion. Peace out.